Good evening. I've asked for a few minutes of your time to discuss a matter of national importance, the reform of America's immigration system. The issue of immigration stirs intense emotions, and in recent weeks, Americans have seen those emotions on display. On the streets of major cities,
Immigration is a key attribute of American society. Various ethnic groups migrated to America for numerous reasons, including freedom from political oppression and persecution. In contemporary American society, immigration has played a vital role in determining the norms of our democratic community. Democracy is often defined as the rule of the many. Immigrants in America also partake in the communal affairs, and they share in the tragedies and the elations of the society. In this democratic country, immigrants are granted the opportunities that are also bestowed upon natural American citizens. Similarly, Plato, in The Republic, asserts the importance of having variation and diversity in a community. Immigrants bring about this sense of diversity that helps us both hold our individuality while also learning to collaborate together for the common interest. Despite personal insecurities that may arise as a result of such diversification, Thucydides claims in Pericles' funeral oration that we should not be in a constant state of anxiety because of fear of our fellow citizens. Contrarily, we need to learn to be accepting of others and help them assimilate into our environment, as did the Athenian. One of the many attributes of Athenian democracy included the idea of allowing foreigners to enter the state and observe the style of government. The definition of democracy has transformed as time has moved on. What was once thought of as an institution in which the majority rule was further examined.
Aristotle distinguished 5 styles of democracy. The 5, according to Aristotle, are: the wealthy and the impoverished share equal power in government, and the government does favor the many. Magistrates are elected, and those without property lose their political rights. All citizens, unless they are disqualified, share rule, but the law will be supreme. All citizens share in the government, but the law is absolute and will be supreme. All citizens share in the government, however, the law is not absolute, and what the majority says will be the final decision. We interviewed different students who are immigrants and asked them some questions on democracy and how their definitions are similar or different from those of these revered philosophers. We also wanted to better understand how immigration affects the definition of democracy and how immigrants view the concept of American democracy.
Look at who we've become. Carlos, immigration is an issue and immigrants are everywhere. How do we get rid of them? Why are they here? First of all, immigration is an American problem. Do you understand that? We created it. We caused it. Not illegals. Yeah, but why are they here? Well, why don't you stop giving them jobs, bitch? That's why they're not. That's it. Stop giving them jobs and they won't stay. It's that simple. But you see how a lot of you are like, it's more complicated than that. And you know why you believe that? Because you watch the news and you see all these people complicating a very simple issue. I'm telling you straight up, no work, no illegals. I have proof, okay? The majority of illegal aliens are from Mexico. Mexico borders the United States of America on the north, but on the south, it actually borders El Salvador and Guatemala. Interestingly enough, neither El Salvador nor Guatemala happen to have a fucking immigration problem. You know what else they don't have? Work. They don't have work. And you know at least one Mexican went down and came back to Mexico and went, wow, don't go down there. You ever heard of a Cuban swimming to the Dominican Republic?
My name is Glenn, and my last name is Lee.
Okay. And what country are you from originally?
I am from Korea, South Korea.
Okay. So what is democracy in your opinion, and how would you define it?
Okay, coming from Korean perspective, democracy means like having multiple number of people who are educated and they make their decision together by I don't know. I think people make decision for the common good by expressing their own ideas, and everyone's voice should kind of work toward the goal of the community. Korea, the democracy is not as mature as America it is, because it only came after like the World War II, and Korea was kind of new to the democracy. They didn't know like what to do with it, I guess, and like in Korea we don't have much sense of like trust for the vote and voting process. So people feel that they should do something with their hand, or in their community they should do something together than just doing with the vote. So they feel that doing the what do you call it, like a protest, or protest like violence, or maybe
Like more physical?
without even violence, like the process is kind of more common way to express their like common idea.
So, what is democracy?
I believe that democracy is a sort of governing body that in which people come together and they decide who they want to make decisions for them as well. They vote for the people they want for them to be ruled by.
Do you believe in it?
No,
Do you think it can exist?
not a fully functioning one.
What is democracy in your opinion?
In my opinion, democracy is a system by which people are given the right to choose officials so that they represent them and so that their equalities and freedoms are upheld.
Can you give me a definition of what you perceived American democracy to be?
Well, in Ecuador, people elect the officials directly, so I thought it would be the same here. In terms of how I saw the government, I figured things must have been better here, since people weren't revolting every other week like it was the case in Ecuador. So even though I knew it was a democracy, I noticed that people were given more opportunities to prosper.
What was society and government like in Ecuador?
So, like I mentioned before, people get to elect officials directly. So, during election time, once the votes are counted, you know who the new officials are. In my opinion, this has led to a lot of corruption, because candidates try to buy votes by promising things to people. There is a lot of poverty in Ecuador, so it's easy for the candidate with the most money or the one with the most power to promise things to the poor, which account for most of the population in Ecuador. So when they're elected and end up not properly representing the poor, then they revolt, and this leads to crime and other issues.
Then the poor revolt?
Right, yes. So, that's why one of the reasons I thought America would be better.
What has your experience with American democracy been like so far since you've moved here?
So, although quality of life is better because of democracy, the government makes it really hard to obtain legal residency. I came to this country when I was 13, and I didn't really have a choice in coming here. I went to public schools for 4 years, and when I graduated, there weren't any opportunities. And so I had to wait another 9 years to get the green card. So my choice was either to go back or wait it out and continue living life here, waiting. So it wasn't exactly what I had thought, what I had in mind in regards to American democracy.
What wasn't, like waiting and prolonging starting your life?
Yes. I had this idea that this was the land of the free, and it turned out that there was a certain process that immigrants had to go through in order to achieve that freedom. So I found it very difficult. And also, even though there are laws against discrimination, society is still very prejudiced against immigrants, at least in my experience, against people from South America.
Do you think that immigrants coming to the United States are influencing the definition of democracy in America?
Yes, because the more immigrants that come here, the more the laws that have to be updated and changed to account for the large number of immigrants. And the more regulations that are put into place, the less democratic the country becomes. So in cases like Arizona, everybody, I guess the police can ask for documentation to somebody that looks like an immigrant. That to me seems to be really undemocratic. So, but it is a result of more immigrants coming to this country, so it is definitely changing the definition of democracy.
If you were to go back to Ecuador and participate in their government, what would you take back from American democracy?
If I could go back, I would, and be able to change the government, I would implement rules to make sure that candidates aren't able to buy their seats in office. One such rule would be making people choose representatives to elect their officials.
That's something you like about America?
Yes. I mean, it's got its pros and cons, but in the end, I think it would decrease the corruption that Ecuador is suffering from at the moment.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You've been a great help.
So, what is democracy?
Well, what democracy should be? They should be like a big family where all of the citizens are like brothers and sisters, okay, and the government is like the parents. So, you can't pick favorites based on, how smart someone is, how wealthy someone is. Since we're your kids, you have to treat us all different and pretty much, not different, the same, equal. We all each have a say, and we want to say something, you listen to each and every one of us. Not take sides, no favorites. Just equality.
Immigrants do a lot for this country. Nevertheless, in recent times, racial profiling has become prominent as people lack trust in each other. This goes against the basic principles of democracy, and that we are not treating each other in a fair, equitable manner. Legal immigrants are often being discriminated against, and this is not morally just, especially in a democratic society, which we all claim to promote fairness. Immigrants help improve the country. The population is what makes America unique, and it is what helps us become stronger, more tolerant of others, but less tolerant of inequality. Immigrants and citizens must learn to better cooperate with each other. This concept is similar to that of Plato from Plato's allegory of the cave.
In it, Plato emphasizes the idea of the importance of community and always giving back to the community. He illustrates the idea of prisoners who are trapped in a cave and are fettered together. They view shadows of reality on the wall portrayed by a fire. One prisoner escapes out of the cave and he endures pain and suffering on his journey to reach enlightenment. The prisoner returns back to the cave to inform his fellow chained prisoners about reality, even though he had the chance to stay outside in reality and focus on his personal interests.
Likewise, we must respect immigrants because they too are part of our community. It is best if we treat them fairly and permit them to work with us to strengthen our community and our nation. Immigrants endure many challenges in society, and they deserve equal treatment, especially in a democratic society.